Hi, everybody. Good middle of the day this time. See, I pop up in all sorts of odd times just for the joy of it. Anyhow, today we're continuing another chapter from Prosperity Consciousness by this lovely duo. Let's see if I got it. Okay, Stephen and Chutisa Bowman. Sexy people. Also amazing people and super invitations to stepping into the prosperity that surrounds us and really changing the way we function in this reality. They're pretty damn awesome. And I'm so very grateful to have chosen various classes with the Bowmans. And by the way, October 1st, they are beginning another 3-month dive. And as a veteran of their previous 3-month dive, holy moly, you just might want to consider that. Anyhow, it's only for people who are willing to live on the creative edge, which is today's chapter. I have no idea, like, number-wise what it is, like 9, 8, 7, whatever. But just bear with me. It is roughly page 95 for those of you who are holding this version of the book. Hi. Ay, gracias, mi vida. Me encanta. Gracias. Okay, so living on the creative edge. And in this chapter, Chutisa explores the following ideas. Living on the creative edge. Come here, Kipster. Living on the creative edge, the art of conscious creation. Creating is about asking and receiving and trying to make things happen versus living on the creative edge. And by the way, just for those of you guys who don't know, this is Kippy. Not the same one who was visiting the other day. This one's Kippy. And tools that you can use to consciously create your life. Have you ever found yourself working unpleasantly hard and putting a lot of force, effort, and energy into trying to make things happen? You may not even have been aware that you're doing it. Most people misidentify and misapply what it takes to make things happen. They assume that you've got to do hard work. Can you imagine what it would be like if you didn't have to do any hard work? Are you willing to allow a constant flow of money and prosperity into your life? Making things happen doesn't take hard work. All it takes is choice. Meme. Choice, trust, and the ability to live on the creative edge. The ability to live on the creative edge is the vehicle that would allow you to lead yourself to money with consciousness, which is the invitation of this lovely book. So what does living on the creative edge mean? So what does living on the creative edge actually mean? Well, it means having the ability to receive everything. People who live on the creative edge recognize their oneness with the universe. They know that the universe will provide infinitely if they ask and are willing to receive. Mother Teresa, who did amazing work with the poor in India, totally exemplified what it is like to live on the creative edge. She created entirely by asking and receiving. She was the living embodiment of compassion and made most of her unique talents and abilities for the greatest, and made the most of her unique talents and abilities for the greatest benefit. She had 3 cents when she began to create her organization, the Missionaries of Charity. And in her desire to serve the world's poor, she claimed, owned, and acknowledged no limitations, not even church policy. She had a strong sense of purpose that moved her and kept her inspired in the face of hardship. Mother Teresa did what she loved. She consciously chose her work and her life's path, receiving everything without judgment. She also lived in the question. So she asked herself and the universe a truly important question that propelled her on her path. How can I know whether this is the right path for me? A brilliant question. How can I know whether this is the right path for me? And the answer she received was, you will know by your happiness. This answer guided her choice at the beginning of her career and for the rest of her life. Her love of her work allowed her to build the Missionaries of Charity into a worldwide billion-dollar organization. She was able to accomplish her charitable work through generosity of spirit and the simultaneity of gifting and receiving. Where am I? Okay. She became one of the most powerful women in the world because of her compassion and her willingness to receive everything and lose everything. Isn't that a paradox? Although Mother Teresa had taken vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, she was definitely not operating from a scarcity paradigm. She was able to build a billion-dollar organization dedicated to helping the poor. Mother Teresa walked with presidents, prime ministers, kings, and queens in order to accomplish her work. She was featured on the cover of almost every important news magazine in the world. She received many honors and became known as one of the most powerful women in the world. She was able to accomplish great work because she was willing to receive what the universe was sharing with her. She was willing to live on the creative edge. Starting to live on the creative edge. So in our experience, choosing to live on the creative edge is essential for creating abundance. Most of our clients are successful leaders who have clarity about what they want in life. Many of them even have an understanding about what's been blocking them. However, most of them don't have the awareness or the tools to create ease with the things that they truly wish to create. They often use a lot of effort and even resort to struggling in order to create what they want. Many of them admit that even when they struggle, they're not able to create what they desire. So Steve and I empathize with our clients because we ourselves have been there and done that. The t-shirt. We fully understand the reason why these people are not yet living the life that they would like to create. We know firsthand what it feels like to waste energy and time functioning from a linear construct. Many years ago, before Steve and I were introduced to the idea of living on the creative edge, we used to think that we had to use a lot of energy and actively do things to get what we wanted. This was a cause and effect viewpoint of creation that required a lot of force and effort. We had bought into the lies and the limitations of linear constructs as we were growing up. We tried to create plans and systems for the future based on making the, in air quotes, correct choice or decisions, which we thought would put everything right in our lives forever. And when we bought into these false points of view, then we created limitations that didn't allow us to live on the creative edge. One way of starting to live on the creative edge is to begin to create your life as a present time adventure instead of as a future possibility. I'm going to share with you a very subtle but very powerful access tool for living on the creative edge that may well change the rest of your life. It certainly has changed ours. To begin to live on the creative edge, we invite you to let go of the idea of the step-by-step linear construct of your reality. Do you currently create your life with beliefs that resemble the following two statements? I've got to have a good job that pays lots of money. Or that will give me the freedom to do anything I want to do and only then I will be happy? Well, if so, then create your life instead by living in and as the question. If you want anything in your life to be better or to be different, then all you have to do is ask the universe to assist you. And you must be willing to receive what the universe is sharing with you, and you must remain open to the infinite possibilities. Living on the creative edge is all about receiving. The essential point here is that living on the creative edge is about receiving. It's also about awareness and the ability to access infinite possibilities and universal knowledge beyond your own imagination and experience. Albert Einstein is another good example of someone who lived on the creative edge. His work and achievements did not come from his cognitive ability, but from living in and as the question. The important thing is to not stop questioning. Quote by Albert Einstein. By living in and as the question, Einstein was able to access universal knowledge. He questioned the whole notion of time, proposing that speed would allow us to travel beyond the present. He refused to be constrained by the finite potential of this reality. Einstein once said, "The most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious. It is the fundamental emotion which stands at the cradle of true art and true science." By the way, another reason I absolutely love these books is because you get these lovely, lovely QR codes you scan and see a fantastic mini little snippet video with Stephen and Chutisa that just expands on whatever that concept was in the book. So highly interactive and, like I said, highly, highly recommended. Creating your reality. Let me share with you how Steve and I created our realities by living on the creative edge. 6 years ago, Steve gradually came to the recognition that he had been creating his life and work based on the erroneous point of view that to be successful, he had to have all the trappings of a reality that included a high salary, a lofty reputation, status, and ownership or shares in a business that created wealth. Once he realized that he'd been trying to create financial wealth based on a linear construct of this reality, he then recognized that this was expansive neither for him nor for our relationship. He realized that this was not what he truly desired. And when Steve saw that he'd been trying to create his financial life and work around the lie of the scarcity paradigm, then new possibilities began to appear. During this time, I was working as a usability specialist and transpersonal change counselor, helping individuals and businesses to become more conscious and more able to deal with everyday pressures and demanding environments. One morning, while we were walking along the beach, Steve asked me these questions, which instantaneously changed our work and our life path. What would it be like for us to work together in our own business? And what's it going to take for that to happen? Well, we both knew immediately that it would be awesome and expansive for both of us to work together, and we set out to create it. When we first set up our business, we had many points of view about how we could create it to be exactly the way that we wished it to be. We had many great ideas, and we decided over a few months exactly what our business was going to look like. And then we set out to create our business in the generally accepted and long-established tradition of business, using control and force to make sure that we were on top of everything. We used huge amounts of energy and effort to control everything and ensure that our business and our lives happened the way we had decided that they should. We put conditions on our creations, and with those conditions, we did not allow anything that did not match that to show up. Fortunately, we became aware that by controlling everything, we were limiting what we could create and what we could receive. We began to ask this question: what else is possible? So get a sense of what you wish your life, work, and business to be. One day, during a conversation, hello again, Gary shared with us the way he created access consciousness as a business. He explained how he created by receiving rather than by using control, force, and effort. This was an inspiration to us. We saw what it would take for us to create our business consciously. When Gary was establishing his business, he began by getting a sense of what he wished his life, work, and his business to be. He didn't just think it. He got the feeling of it. He got the vision of what his life, work, and business would look like and what they would feel like. He felt the vibration of all the elements that he wished to have in his life and in his work. He then stuck a little bubble out in front of him, containing those elements. He pulled energy into that bubble from all over the universe until he felt it growing stronger and stronger. And then he let little trickles of energy go out to all the people who might be looking for him and didn't even know it. Every time he encountered an opportunity that had the feeling or the energy of his vision, he went for it, whether it made any sense to him or not. When an opportunity didn't have those feelings, he didn't go there. If a situation or a possibility had some of the elements that he desired, but not all of them, yeah, he didn't go there either. So Gary did a lot of different things, and each one thing that he did led him closer and closer to developing access consciousness as it is now. His business has been hugely successful. Access has grown exponentially over the last 15 years and continues to expand and flourish. Winfrey's have become exceptionally wealthy because they've chosen to do what they love. They've provided goods and services that benefit the world at large and have been justly rewarded in return. Not sure what that is. Anyway, destroying and uncreating our business. The idea of creating from receiving really resonated with us. So from that moment on, Steve and I made a choice to create our business and our lives from receiving instead of through control. Once we made the choice to create from receiving, we began straight away to recreate our business. The first thing we did now was to totally destroy and uncreate our business as it was. So when Steve and I present the access process called Destroy and Uncreate at seminars and workshops, some of the participants invariably state, well, this is far-fetched, implausible rubbish, and hogwash. I'm not going to try to convince you otherwise, so it's your choice whether to believe it or not. I had difficulty believing it myself at first. All I can tell you is that even though the notion seems weird, wacky, and bizarre, it works like magic. Let me share with you our experience of destroy and uncreate. Destroying and uncreating our business did not mean we actually had to physically destroy anything. It did not mean we had to close up or actually end the business. It did not mean that we had to tear down our business, wipe out our lives, or eliminate our relationship. What we destroyed and uncreated was everything that we had made significant about the past, everything that we had made real and solid. We destroyed and uncreated our decisions, our conclusions, and our judgments about the way our business was supposed to be, the way we should operate it, and our ideas about the expected outcomes. This process is critical because as soon as people decide that they're at the peak of their business and this is as good as it gets, then they will not be able to create anything that surpasses that judgment. Whenever we decide that we have something right in our lives, then we stop receiving. We also destroyed and uncreated our obligations, projections, expectations, disappointments, struggles, and regrets, as well as our need to compete and our decisions about what was going to happen in the future. When we destroyed and uncreated everything that we'd created in the past, what showed up was the opportunity to create something totally new. This practice put us on the creative edge of things. So how did we destroy and uncreate our business? Well, we simply made this declaration to ourselves. Everything that our business and our lives were yesterday, we now destroy and uncreate them totally. And this made space for us to start creating our business and our lives anew without the baggage of what had been. For instance, when we were first setting up our business, Steve refused to present leadership training and development workshops. He didn't see the benefit of traditional leadership training processes. For years before we set up our business, he'd been a CEO and a board director for many organizations and had participated in a lot of leadership training programs himself. He didn't like the way that the typical leadership programs trained leaders to manage and control staff with force, effort, form, structure, and significance. He resisted and reacted to anything to do with leadership training. At the same time that we were destroying and uncreating our business as it was, Steve chose to destroy and uncreate his points of view about leadership. This freed him up to co-create with me the conscious leadership philosophy that's become a major part of our work. This process enabled us to stop defining and categorizing what we would be and do as business consultants. We remained open to the infinite possibilities, and we became willing to receive anything that came our way, including leadership training assignments. Since we destroyed our unwillingness to present leadership training, we had perceived other possibilities for training leaders to lead with conscious awareness. Our business has doubled in size over 2 years, and now over 1/3 of our business is related to conscious leadership and consciousness in business. And by now, considering this was written several years ago, it's probably a hell of a lot more than that. Conscious creation. Having destroyed and created our business as it was, we then recreated our business anew. We began by choosing what we would like our lives and our business to be. So we used the following questions to get a vision and perceive the energy of the business that we wished to have. What would a business that facilitates the expansion of consciousness and allows us to make gargantuan amounts of money look like or feel like? What does the universe require of us? What does the world require of us? What do we require of us? What do we want out of life? What would we choose to do if money were no object? And what would it be like to do it? The vision is way more than just the picture of what it's going to look like. It's the feeling of what it would be like to have this business and what it would be like to do this work. This is not the same as visualization. In my experience, visualization is limiting because it's a function of the mind and the imagination. My imagination can only define what I already know. But by shifting the focus away from the picture and towards the vibration, I transfer energy from my perception of the picture, which is a limitation, to the infinite possibility. Rather than trying to figure out how to create our business, Steve and I became aware of what we would truly like to achieve in our lives. And we did this by asking this question: what would it be like to consciously create our life? This envisioning process isn't about the quote-unquote how, it's about what we would like to have and what it would feel like to have it. It was vital to stop limiting ourselves with a focus on how is this or that going to happen. The how creates the need to figure it out, and the need to figure it out creates a constraint. So we got the awareness that we would like a business that allowed us to generate huge amounts of money, currency, and prosperity consciousness. We wanted to travel magnificently around the world, helping organizations, leaders, and individuals reach higher levels of consciousness and become more aware of what they would like to create in their lives. And above all, we wished to create a business that was able to assist and empower people to move out of a scarcity paradigm and into prosperity consciousness. The awareness I've just described. Okay, thanks, Mom. The awareness that I've just described is the energetic vibration of these elements, not a mental image. Instead of seeing the picture, we tuned into the vibration of the components that would bring what we desired to fruition. Once we ascertained the basic vibration, then we put it out there in front of us. We pulled energy into it from all over the universe until we could feel it growing stronger and stronger. And then we let a little energy trickle out to all the potential clients who were looking to have what we could facilitate. From then on, we just followed the energy. We didn't try to control it. We were willing to just let it show up. Now, every time we come upon projects that match the vibration of those elements, we choose to do them. And when we encounter clients who match this vibration, we choose to work with them. When something shows up that feels like this energy, we move in that direction. And when something doesn't have that feeling, We choose not to go there. What are the infinite possibilities? Once we started creating our business and our lives using this process of conscious creation, things got a lot easier. What's more, everything's been coming to us more with ease, joy, and glory. Once we became aware of what we wanted to achieve and what it would be like and feel like to do that, then we became much more aware and alert to the various prospects and opportunities that showed up. All we have to do is be willing to receive the information that's available. Sometimes conscious creation is spontaneous. Recently, we were in an airplane coming home from Sydney, where we had been assisting the leadership team of a large not-for-profit organization's move from a scarcity paradigm to a more prosperity-conscious way of governing their organization. And I said to Steve, it is really inspiring to see people experience transformation and change. What are the infinite possibilities for more of this to happen? And Steve replied, that would be awesome. What would it take for that to happen? When we went to our office the next morning, there was a message from one of our treasured clients in Brisbane asking us to come to Brisbane in 3 days to work with their board of directors on the topics of prosperity and scarcity and governance, almost exactly the same as the previous client. Furthermore, during the afternoon of the same day, we received an urgent call from a conference organizer in Sydney, pleading for us to make a keynote presentation the following week. Our experience illustrates what we mean by conscious creation and creating by living in and as the question. When we truly ask for something and know that we will get it, key, ask and know, right? It always shows up for us. It's not about controlling what, when, where, how it shows up, or having an expectation that it will show up instantaneously. It's about allowing it to show up and being willing to receive when it does. Creating ourselves anew every day. Another important aspect of conscious creation is starting every day anew. We start every day by asking 2 questions each morning. Who am I today? And what grand and glorious adventures am I going to have this day? And when we go to bed, we say, everything I believed I was and everything that I created today, I destroy and uncreate it all. Who I was today, I destroy and uncreate. Often this is not even said out loud, but we perceive the energy of these 2 statements and we tap into it. This process is about unlocking where we've been programmed to operate instead of creating based on infinite possibility. It opens things up for us to create our reality from a different place. By asking the question, who am I today? We consciously destroy and uncreate everything that we were yesterday. And when we destroy and uncreate our fixed point of view about what we thought we could do, be, have, create, and generate, then we allow ourselves to show up as far greater than anything we ever thought was possible. We also destroy and uncreate our business, our relationship, and our financial situation every day by saying everything that our business was yesterday, we now destroy and uncreate it all. And everything our relationship was yesterday, I now destroy and uncreate it all. By practicing this, we're able to create ourselves, our lives, our relationships, and our business anew in every moment. When we ask, what grand and glorious adventures are we going to have this day, that we allow ourselves to perceive, know, be, and receive the infinite possibilities for ourselves and for everyone concerned. Seeing possibilities. In order to live on the creative edge, we had to be willing to perceive, know, be, and receive what would be enjoyable and gratifying about having our business the way we envisioned it. For instance, I feel exuberant and uplifted whenever I reflect on how people will be able to move from scarcity into prosperity consciousness when Steve and I work with them. I feel energized and enthusiastic whenever I reflect on what our existing clients have told us about the expansion of awareness and prosperity that they've experienced from working with us. Conscious creation continues to be the single most useful process I've ever encountered on the topic of creativity. This way of living on the creative edge has been my ever-ready friend in every possible kind of situation. Steve and I constantly apply this tool and philosophy in all aspects of our business. It's helped us to develop new products, services, and workshop programs. We ask the universe to give us an insight, an inspiration into what it would take for us to develop seminars, services, and products that would give us multi-million dollars in revenue. To heighten our ability to perceive infinite possibilities, we ask ourselves, what must we also perceive, know, be, and receive that would allow us to recognize unlimited potential and expand our business with ease? Many of our best opportunities we created out of situations that other people perceived as ordinary, everyday events. Our business grows and continues to flourish because we've developed the capacity to see possibilities where others saw difficulties or complications. Living in the question has enabled us to access and to trust our intuitions and to create new services for our clients. At the same time that we've been writing this book, we've also been creating podcast productions on consciousness and business. This new service will assist leaders and organizations to be more extraordinary, especially when they're under pressure. How does it get any better than this? So the simple philosophy of conscious creation is ask and receive. It's very light. I'm amazed at how effortless it is to live on the creative edge. We create our lives every moment as though everything is a miracle. How does it get any better than this? There are two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, and the other is as though everything is a miracle. Albert Einstein. What comes up for you when you read the message above? Can you imagine what it would be like if you could create your life moment by moment? Creating a magnificent and magical life starts with you. And as always, here's the summary at the end of the chapter, tools for discovering what you love to do. Rather than using force, control, and effort, create by receiving. Things to do. 1, get a sense of what you wish your life, work, or business to be. 2, get the vision of it. 3, what would it feel like? 4, what would it look like? Feel the vibration of all the elements you wish to have in your life or your business. Put a bubble out in front of yourself containing those elements. Pull energy into the bubble from all over the universe. When you feel it growing stronger, let little trickles of energy go out to all of those people who might be looking for you and who don't even know it. And every time you encounter an opportunity that has the feelings or the energy of your vision, go for it. When an opportunity doesn't have those elements, don't go there. And if a possibility has some of the elements that you desire, but not all of them, don't go there either. Destroy and uncreate your business and your life. Say to yourself, everything my business and my life were yesterday, I now destroy and uncreate them totally. Everything I believed I was and everything that I created today, I now destroy and uncreate it all. Who I was today, I destroy and uncreate. And now recreate your business and you by choosing what you would like it to be. Questions to ask. What would a business that facilitates expansion of consciousness and allows me to make huge amounts of money look like or feel like? What does the universe require of me? What does the world require of me? I'd add another one there. What does consciousness require of me? What do I require of me? What do I want out of life? What would I choose to do if money were no object? What would it be like to do it? Create yourself anew every day. Questions to ask. Who am I today? And what grand and glorious adventures am I going to have this day? So thank you very much to everyone who's tuned in. This is such an amazing book. I'm enjoying it tremendously, and I will keep reading it till we're through. I think we're about 3/4 of the way through. Tomorrow's chapter will be Prosperity Consciousness is a Choice. So thanks very much for being here. This book has been such a huge gift in my life and taking me out of tunnel vision, conclusion reality, and opening it up into so many different possibilities. And then, of course, having actual like in-person classes with Stephen and Chutisa has been absolutely fucking marvelous as well. So highly recommend that. Thanks, you guys. Mwah. Arrivederci. Bye.